Okay, welcome to the 5th episode of the MakerCast. I've got with me today, and if I don't know if you're all going to introduce yourselves, you can choose to do that if you wish. But very quickly, we've got from the left-hand side, we've got Liz, Blitz City DIY. We've got Brian Lough from Brian Lough. We've got bitluni and the Unexpected Maker.
Hi.
So if you'd all like to introduce yourselves in turn, if we can start from the left-hand side, that'd be wonderful. That's you, Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz. My channel is Blitz DIY. Do electronics projects, much like everyone here. And yeah.
Brian?
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm from Ireland. I mainly train kids on how to go to the potty, apparently. That seems to be my life at the moment. I also do electronics videos, like everyone else here. And I mainly work with the ESP8266 and sometimes the ESP32. And I love the LED matrices. That's me, basically.
Okay, and bitluni.
Hi, yeah, I'm Looney from bitluni's lab, and I'm doing all kinds of maker stuff full time, and you probably know me from the channel.
Next up, we have the Unexpected Maker.
Hey folks, Seon, Unexpected Maker. I don't know what I do anymore. I sit and build TinyPicos. I just like working with digital electronics, and I trying to build a bit of a hardware business. And I love RGB, LED stuff, and anything small. Everything I build is going to be smaller and smaller and smaller. That's it.
Okay, and I'm David Watts of David Watts on YouTube, and I do some makey stuff. That's about it. Basically, if you're on here, you know who I am. I just do some hobby projects, anything that I like doing. There's no particular theme, anything that interests me. Someone did just point out in the comments that the people's faces actually don't go left to right. On my screen, Liz is left, and actually on the YouTube screen, it is right. So just in case that confuses anyone. Right, so this is the section where we talk about what everyone has been working on. So should I go first? Is that okay? I'll go first, only because
There's no
haven't got
room.
very much. It won't take long. Okay, so I've got my little show notes on here. Is that back to front? Yeah, it is actually. I guess that's my camera doing that. I've currently actually the biggest thing that I've been working on that I've been kind of excited about is MicroPython. I recently picked up one of those boards and I've been running on Seon's tutorials. So that has been really exciting. It's a fun little thing to do, just to jump outside of the usual Arduino IDE that I use to try that out. So don't expect a video on that anytime soon, because I can't actually do anything better than Seon's produced, but it's a really easy kind of way to kickstart yourself. I think Liz might have been working on MicroPython as well. Is that right, Liz?
Yeah. I was using Linux on Windows to get it working.
I think Liz is probably a little bit further ahead than me anyway. I've also, so I bought some cool stuff from Japan. I'm just going to grab it. So I went to Japan. I've been on holiday a couple of times actually in the last month or so. And I bought this, which it is back to front. Hang on a minute.
Is no, it really? It's just on your screen to be not confused. So
okay.
Yeah,
okay, well, it's this, which is like a push button light switch. And I want to see what's going on inside. I haven't taken it apart yet. So I'm planning on taking this apart, maybe improving it some. I like modifying things. And I've been designing some 3D stuff. Oh, Chunky Steve-O would be proud. But I also got one of these. These are those solar wobble bobble heads, I guess. And this is the trash can guy from Sesame Street. I don't remember his name. And I can't read any of the characters. Oscar, thank you. Is he the... Oh, no, that's the Cookie Monster just there. I thought it was the cookie guy. Anyway, I'm going to take this apart, see how it works, and take the head off and 3D print my own head and stick it on there.
Your own head on there.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny. Well, yeah, I guess it could be anything. It could be something rude. Who knows? And the other stuff I've been working on is to do, so this is a super long running project that I've had for a while, and it's an outdoor temperature sensor. I've been working on this for like 2 years, off and on, but I like to come back when I've learned a bit more and add more into the project. So it was a low powered ESP8266 device. I think it might now be a low powered ESP32, but I'm not there yet. So what I've done is I've improved how low power it is by using this TPL 5110. Is it 5110? Yeah, my mind's failing me now. Chip, which is a little timer chip that enables me to drop down to like super low current, nanoamps. In fact, I think it's 10 nanoamps, which is really, really low current. I mean, there's no difference between that and having something which is, you know, like 1 microamp or something, but it's just about achieving that really small number. So going to be doing that again, which should be a lot of fun. And then everything else is to do with 2 projects that I never put on Tindy that I really should have done. And I've got 75 copies of these boards. So that's the
Your badges.
yeah, those stupid, the crap badges. So I put them up on Tindy, as well as the crap cricket thing that I made ages ago. I probably haven't got one near me, but they're not published yet because I need to just create those lovely little instruction cards that Seon does so well with his, and pretty much everybody else.
Don't blame me.
There's no silk screen on here to tell you where to put the parts. So it turns out it's probably a little bit too difficult just to ship and say, good luck. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting those together. They'll be out in the next week or so, I think. I'm going to go and get them professionally printed so they look nice. And then that'll go out. And then I can work on more things when I've just cleared the decks a little. So that is it, I think. Yeah, pretty much. All right, who would like to go next?
Crickets.
Yeah, this is going to
Oh,
be a
look,
bit...
actually, in fact, I'll tell you what. See, I've got a list of things on, you know, traditional paper as well, of things that people have been working on, so that if you don't mention it, I'm going to poke you and tell you to talk about it. And Brian has worked on something really interesting lately, and so has bitluni, and so has Liz, and so has Seon. So, Seon, why don't you tell us about why don't you tell us about the TinyPico and crowd supply, and also the pick and place? That'd be wonderful to hear about.
Right. Okay. Well, I would
I'm
assume
sorry,
that
mate.
most people watching maybe will already know about the TinyPico and the journey. But TinyPico is an ESP32 development board that it's really small, and then we've got header pins on it, which I launched on crowd supply. So it's been a really long journey. Obviously, I started this, I don't know, 10 months ago. I think it feels like 5 years ago. And I never imagined I was going to actually release it as a board, but I did. And it's doing pretty well. It's got like, I think 11 days to go on crowd supply, and just about to hit $29,000 raised, which is pretty cool. 416 backers. What's the TinyPico count now? Thank you. I think it's about 960 something. I'm not quite sure. I didn't check, didn't add it up this morning. So if you can hear my printer's, I made them and the rain, it's pummeling. Anyway, I made the mistake of listing some reflow masters yesterday because there've been people waiting, and all of a sudden I woke up to orders, and now I have to print cases. So yes, and so one of the challenges, because it's so small, was, and because of the quantity I've got back, is assembling them. So I bought myself a pick and place machine, which has been an interesting journey, because although the pick and place was $5,000, which I know seems like a lot of money, it's actually like a really super cheap pick and place machine. And, you know, as the old adage is, you get what you pay for. And it's not really suited to build my TinyPicos, to do such small parts with such reliability. But I've been fighting it, battling it. I released a video 2 days ago, or a day ago. I don't know when it was.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
Sorry?
This one was quite interesting. The video where you did show the complete process, and also with placing the individual.
Having to readjust up. Right. Yeah. Well, since then, I had another fight with the pick and place machine, and I've actually, looks like I've finally found a perfect setup where I almost don't have to touch any parts except for the QFNs. For some reason, the QFNs seem to be pretty unreliable. but all my small parts now are pretty good. Like I have to knock maybe one part per board in place, and everything else is fine.
What did
And
you change?
Sorry,
What
I've
did
got a
you
video coming out. I've got a video coming out. You might have to wait for that.
Okay.
But no, there were stacks of people on the my video in comments that were just saying, "Oh, it's because there's movement of the machine." And so I went to the hardware store and I did something that so for those that don't know, I have it's a phobia. It's a phobia about attaching things to walls. So I don't have anything in my office. Nothing is attached to the wall, right? I had one print hanging on the wall once, which I've taken off. There's something about permanency. Like once you drill a hole in the wall, that hole's there forever, right?
It really isn't, though. Yeah, you could just like plaster over it, it'd be fine.
That takes plastering and painting, and I'll always know it's there. Anyway,
I do exactly the same thing. I was a renter for a very long time, so I could never put anything up on the walls. That's why it's not on the wall. I refuse to put it up. I daren't drill into the wall.
Yeah,
I rent my house, and there is like my whole walls are like Swiss cheese. Like I'm surprised they're still standing up anymore.
Well, you know what it is though. It's that thing where when you're at the pub or whatever else, and it's once you break the seal, that's it. You're done. If you never drill a hole in the wall, you're fine. But once you drill one hole, then you've drilled 100 holes, right? Anyway, so I went to the hardware store.
That's where I am.
Yeah, 100 holes? Yeah. Yeah, you drill everything into your wall. So I bought these really strong steel brackets, and I've attached my table to the wall now in 4 places, and it does not move. And between that and some settings that I found that I didn't know about, some hidden settings in the software, I managed to get it really reliable now. But you have to wait for the video. Anyway, so it's good. So I now have to. I'm way behind in my production. I was hoping to ship early, but at this rate, I'll ship on time. But I don't think I'm going to be able to ship early. But I've got about 600, 500 TinyPicos still to make. Yeah, a lot of TinyPicos still to go. Yes. And I've got some other exciting projects that I want to get onto, but I can't until TinyPico's the other way. I feel like I just can't get distracted right now. As soon as I get distracted with something else, I'll ship late. So I don't want to do that.
Can you talk quickly about the crowd supply experience?
Yes. Well, okay. So just to let everyone know, I mentioned in my last stream, I'm going to do an AMA at the end of the campaign. Brian's going to help me with that. I'll host it, but he'll do the hosting. And
I was voluntold.
Yeah, you were kind of told. I told everyone it was happening before I asked Brian because he wasn't sure.
That's fine. It's good.
So I'll do like a full recap there. But working with crowd supply has been interesting. It's quite different to Kickstarter. It's still a crowdfunding campaign, but it works a little bit differently. The way their shipping works is different. The way they bundle things together is different. But I guess the key thing with it is that when the 11 days is finished on the campaign, the actual campaign doesn't stop like it does on Kickstarter. So on Kickstarter, when the time runs out, that's it. You can't back it anymore. But on crowd supply, you can continue backing it. And then once I've shipped the orders, technically crowd supply can buy stock off me and they can keep selling it. It becomes a storefront. So it's quite a unique experience. I don't know what's going to happen when the 11 days finished, because technically people can keep ordering TinyPicos off me, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about shipping those. So anyway, it's going to be but the guys at Crowd Supply have been fantastic to work with. They're really proactive. Like with Kickstarter, they're hands off. They approve your campaign and then you just go for it. With Crowd Supply, they help you with all the communication. They help you with the page layout. They can even make the video for you, and they can take photographs for your store. They send out samples to different review sites and manage all of that. So it's a very different experience to just working on something like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo.
One question. How did that work with them sending samples to other people? Do you had any reviews already, or where did they send
so like, for instance, I discussed with them where they're going to go out to, because they've got the usual places they send samples, like Mick Hellstrom from Mick Makes. He always gets the Crowd Supply samples. In that case, I sent them myself because he's local, like he's in Australia, and we're mates. They sent out stuff to Hackaday, to Hackster. We just coordinated like at the start, so we didn't double up on where we were sending to. And yeah, just I could keep sending them samples, and they would send them out to anyone that they thought would be worthy of reviewing. I guess with the case of the TinyPico, it's kind of hard to really find the right people for them to send to. Like they'll send to normal media type places that'll do blog posts or the type of thing rather than YouTubers. I could have coordinated for them to send to YouTubers as well. But when I originally sent my samples, they were the green boards, the pre-production boards, and I only had a few of them. And I obviously sent one to you and one to Liz and one to Brian. Sorry, David. Then one to David.
I'm all right, mate. Okay.
Yeah, and so I only had limited number. I think I only had 6 left. So I sent them 6 and they sent them out to different people. But again, it's open communication the whole time. Like you get given an account manager, and you get like daily communications with them, and you can speak to anyone at the team there, including Josh, who's one of the co-founders of the company. Like they're all hands-on. There's no hierarchy where you can't speak to people. They can help you with sourcing parts. They can help you with manufacturing. They can help you with distribution if you need it, or packaging. I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty good. It's been a very positive experience.
Cool. So, unless you've got anything else to add, I'm going to move on. Is that all right, Seon?
No, go, please. Sorry.
Okay. Bitluni, you seem to be next on my list. Are you happy to go? Oh, look.
Yeah,
sure.
Sure.
There you are. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, I know that you've been working on an awesome ping pong ball display. So it'd be wonderful if you could talk about that. But also, you've been did some stuff working. I don't know. You had a stall at Maker Faire, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you would love to hear about those things and anything else you'd like to add.
Okay, so let's start with the Maker Faire, I think, because the LED ping pong LED wall back there, that was something that I wanted to make for like 2 years already. So if you watched like my videos, maybe sometime in the background you could see the ping pong balls already in the shelf, sitting for 2 years there. And since we had a booth, so Dave Darko, Maya Makes, Tiny LD Matrix, Alex, we had a booth at Maker Faire in Berlin. I thought, okay, I will just take some projects that are appealing or visually appealing to children or people that are wandering there around. And I thought, okay, that would be a nice project to just do right now. And it's a very simple project because you just have to connect the LEDs and put the ping pong balls on and so on. And that was like a week before the Maker Faire. I did this in like 24 hours. So I had the parts all there. And the only thing I had there also a steel plate, because the retention at this LED thing is the plate has to be like a maximum 1.5 millimeter thickness, and I had only a steel plate, so I drilled all the holes, and that was really tedious to work with steel there. But yeah, it turned out nicely, and the video went viral for my measures, so it got like 10 times more views than my typical videos. Instead of like 10,000, it had like 100,000 in a few days. So it really took off because, yeah, it's looking good, and it's maybe the thumbnail is clickbaity or whatever reason. All people have seen it, and also at the Maker Faire, everyone that came to the booth, I saw this video today, or I saw it yesterday, and everyone have seen that. And yeah, that was one part of my preparations for the Maker Faire. The Maker Faire.
I'm gonna interject here a second, because
sure.
You said it was an easy project, but
Yeah.
I've seen the behind the scenes. I know what happened to your workshop. Do you want to talk about that?
What do you mean exactly? So
The
yeah,
carpet.
Sorry,
The carpet.
the what?
The floor. The carpet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, it was quite late night, so I had to like even work with the angle grinder in the middle in the night, because it was in my lab here, and I have the carpet. So, and it was so late, so I couldn't do it outside because my neighbors would don't like it, and so I did it here inside, and everything, it was a mess, and I could set everything on fire here with grinding the steel, the burst of this from the drilling, the burst of the steel I was grinding off with the angle grinder, and the sparks were flying all the time here around, and I put like 2 other plates such that the sparks wouldn't fly across the whole room and on the carpet. So yeah, it was okay. It was crazy for like, but it was like few hours, and the preparations for the complete Maker Faire was like a week. So that wasn't the only thing that I did for the Maker Faire. I also wanted to upgrade my electro scooter to to have something to drive there or like play around. And I have used. I wanted to upgrade to the open VESC style ESCs, so they are quite capable, and larger batteries. And yeah, actually, during the configuration of the new VESC firmware, the wizard they have changed the wizard, and it's very simplified, and you are not confronted with the current settings, and they were wrong, and yeah, it like exploded, and my hub drive burned, and I had like smoke coming out of the hub wheel, so that was broken. And also the VESC, there's an IC that's the magic smoke escape, and yeah, that's already like 80 euros, and the wheel is also like 80 euros shipped with DHL, or plus like 20 euros customs. So it was like within few minutes, it was like 180 euros gone. So it's quite expensive experiment. And I was really sad for like one day. And then I thought, okay, I have like 4 1 kilowatt motors for the self-driving car project that I started like 1 year ago, but I didn't release any videos on that. And I thought, okay, then I make a 4 kilowatts all-wheel cart with like the 4 wheels going like the tank mode. And I welded a frame for that within 1 day, and soldered all the wiring and the batteries and so on. That took another day, and I had like a cart finished, but it was quite crazy and uncontrollable. I used a remote control for that. I have teased a short clip in my video. Which one was the last one? I teased this short video, and I will just release the next video will be about this electric cart, and I took it with me, but we couldn't drive it there because it was it was quite crazy. It's going very fast, and you can't steer it very well, so this tank mode doesn't work very well. And that was yet another project that I did just for the Maker Faire. But in the end, it was like the mallet spot with the glasses, the MIDI instrument with the glasses. The one that took caught the most attention to children there. So they always the children so parents with children come there, and the children want always to touch everything and play around with stuff. And I put like a small MIDI keyboard in front of the desk and the instrument, and they could like push the keys, and there was sound coming out, and it was quite entertaining to the kids. Yeah.
I think there might be a new babysitter there, Brian.
I'll fly over. I'll pay for everything.
Yeah, Brian will visit the Maker Faire in Hanover in August. So we already I booked already my hotel for the Maker Faire in Hanover. I initially didn't want to go there, but now we are going. Since Brian is there, we will have a party and have another booth with crazy projects, hopefully.
You've been making some changes to your ESP boards, I think. I don't think you've talked about that since the last Maker Faire.
Oh,
Is that
yes.
something you want to update us on?
my boards. Yes, I have released here this one. This is the shield for the TinyPico VGA. It's really not focused, but yeah, it was the first shield for the TinyPico. And here's the Pico running, and that's actually this monitor there. There's a Julia set fractal rendered real time on the TinyPico, and that's unexpected maker sent me. Yes, that's the one. And yeah, that's on Tindy currently, and that's actually the first surface mount board that I'm selling now. It also has a headphone jack, but it's only line out since it isn't amplified. And
I'm going to convert you all. Surface mount for everyone. No more through.
Yeah, really. That's so much better. I bought this oven that also happened like the last month since the last maker cast, and now just populating the panels with the shield is much easier. And yeah, I'm working on getting also a pick and place machine currently. That will take a few weeks. Maybe next time I can report about that. So I can go down with the price for the boards since they are quite expensive currently. And yeah, it's still a lot of labor. And it's not very profitable if I would count my time that I invest in building them if anyone orders them assembled. And so, still quite expensive.
So someone in the chat just asked, what's needed to run the VGA shield? I know you've talked about this in previous MakerCasts, but maybe a little bit of a update on what it is.
The Pico VGA shield or every other shield as well. Okay, I will just... So for the Pico VGA, there's only one library, and that's for Arduino. That's the Pico is a ESP32 board, and you need Arduino and the ESP32 integration, and then you can also just install the ESP32 lib, and that's an library for Arduino that's has the complete VGA stuff included with all the examples. So you can this one is the 6-bit example. This one is a real-time ray trace. I improved it to 5.5 frames a second, but that's a 14-bit color example. The Pico VGA only has 6 color, and this is the new Black Edition board that's running on and that supports the 14-bit color, and this runs on that mini kit ESP32 that I have also in my Tindy shop. You can get them from there or anywhere else if you don't have them already. So it's very simple. You just have to install an Arduino library and try the examples. And yeah, I have a bad documentation on that library, and yeah, that's even, I think, all. Yeah. And LED wall wise, since everyone liked that, I already got like more LEDs shipped here.
How many are there? How many LEDs are there?
That was 1,200 LEDs. It will be like twice the length and width, but I will also maybe have a gap of 1 centimeter between the balls, so it will be even larger than that. So it will be like yeah, big like a human or what. So
what's your power bill going to be like, bitluni?
Sorry?
What's your power bill going to be like?
I don't know, but I ordered also a power supply, since you need 70 amps 5-volt power supply to drive it. So yeah,
I'm predicting the bitluni is going to burn his workshop down.
No, yeah, and that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
70
It feels like I was talking for like an hour already.
No, you're fine. We've reached the halfway point. That is okay. 70 amps is a lot, Bitluni. I'm scared for you, so be careful.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, Brian, you are next up. I've got a couple of projects you've been working on.
Okay.
One of them's a baby, so there's that. I've got that written down. I'm not sure why. And also the big, obviously a little bit more important, is the Tetris clock. So if you could talk about those things, that'd be wonderful.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know about making babies. I don't know about making babies.
When a man and a woman love each other,
I'll make baby. I'll make baby.
Yeah, let's not get into that one. Yes, but I am now with new child and with very little sleep. But yes, so let's talk about a couple of projects though. So my first one, and I don't know how this is going to show up, but terribly. Oh, there, it's not too bad. So this is my LED matrix clock, and perfect timing. Yes, so as you can see, the time is being drawn out using fallen Tetris blocks. So I actually I made the library for this last year. There's a guy called Tobias Bloom, and he makes some software for ESP8266. One of the more famous ones he has is called Mac Lighting. It's like a web interface for controlling NeoPixels. So if you ever need a web interface for just cycling through different patterns and stuff, that's perfect for it. But he made a sketch called Tetris Time, and it was a LED matrix like this, but it was a 16 by 32 one, and it had a clock on it. And I thought this animation was really, really cool, and I wanted to use it as a subscriber counter. So I spent some time extracting the animation from his sketch with his permission. I didn't just steal it, I swear. So I talked to him, and so we took the logic out, put it into a library, so you could use it on any display. And then Mike Swan, who you'd see knocking around the live streams and stuff, he added text support to the library. So not only could it do numbers now, it could do text. And so I decided I wanted to resurrect that project for a project to do with the TinyPico, because I made the TinyPico matrix board, which is for sale on Tindy. So before Seon sent me the board, I was like, "Hey, Seon, how big is it in relation to a nano again?" Like, I was trying to figure out how big it was. So before I even had the TinyPico, I had a board made up for it. And it worked first time, but that was the first and only time that'll probably ever happen. So that was good. So that was, I had an LED matrix, I had a TinyPico that was easily connectable to an LED matrix, so I needed a project for it. So I dug out the Tetris clock. I added the ability to scale it up. So instead of being small text, you could scale it to be whatever size you want it to be. And so that's at 2 scale now. You might also notice it's probably a bit small, but there is falling Tetris blocks on that monitor behind me. That is using bitluni's VGA board. And in his last video, he released an update to it that added Adafruit GFX support, and the library, the Tetris animation library, works with any screen that has Adafruit GFX support. You just pass in the reference to it, and so yeah, that's scrolling down MakerCast at the moment, and it
looks
that's at like 5 or 6 times scale. It's actually crazy. Like, even, you know, that resolution is like 320 by 200 or something. Like, the monitor is much bigger than that, but the level of resolution that I have on the on the ESP32 is that. And like when you go from working on these matrix displays to that, it's like, wow, look at all this real estate. Like it's like, you know, it's weird how you know, if somebody said, hey, your PC monitor is going to have 320 by 200 resolution, you'd be like, no. But yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah, so a lot went into that project that's released now as a video on my channel. I also did a little bit of playing around with 3D printing to get stands for it. I got an Ender 3 recently, and I absolutely love it. If anybody is on the fence about getting a 3D printer or doesn't know which one to get, I wholeheartedly recommend that one. Another project that I quickly worked on, so this is my block alarm clock. Stephen Lough did a video on this recently enough. But so, okay, so you can see it says 0 on the screen at the moment. And when I press the button, it goes up to 30 and starts counting down, right? So what that is for is, so we were recently teaching my daughter how to go to the potty. And we were using a reward system that she'd get a star every time she sat on the potty. And she quickly figured out that she could just get a star by running down and sitting on the potty and going, I'm done, and getting back up again. So I was like, okay, we need to sort something out here. So you might have heard it beep there a second time. So basically we made it so that she only gets the star when it beeps. So you can just add more time to it by clicking the button. If you click it too many times, you can press the other button and take time away. And when time runs out, it beeps. So should you use an ESP8266 for this project? Absolutely not. But I had this built and ready to go. So like, you know, I'm powering it using like a little cheap power bank from Poundland or Deals. So that was another thing. I've been working on a load of PCBs that I'll get into some other time because I don't have them here. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me. I think so. Did I leave it?
What about a splashdown sensor? Do you think you could do that for the potty? Just find out, you know, if it makes a noise or...
I just think about that, yeah. No, she's graduated to the toilet now, so I don't know how we're going to do that. It's I don't think we should be playing with electronics in the toilet, but we'll see.
Maybe not.
That worked surprisingly well, though. It distracted her enough to keep her on the potty for a little bit longer, so that was good.
Is it a bit like Pavlov's dogs? Do you know that thing?
No, I don't know.
Never mind. People will have to look it up, but it's about conditioning people's brains. When they hear a sound, they do something, or when dogs. That's basically it. So anyway, let's move on, shall we?
So nothing at all to do with Schrodinger's cat, right?
Schrodinger's cat, yeah. Well, let's not get into that. Next up, we have Liz. Liz has been up to quite a lot recently. I don't know if that video thing, the thing I worked on with you with, is that around yet?
Oh, no. Yes, that's available. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm leaving it up to you. I know you've been working on MicroPython and all sorts of things, so go ahead.
So the thing Dave was talking about is a press, which is a publisher that put out my book. They're starting to do videos similar like lynda.com. And so I did a getting started with LEDs and Arduino, and I asked David to be the technical reviewer for it. So that's open right now, and then eventually it'll be behind a paywall because they sell more to like schools and things. But basically, in the course, I would start like with blinking an LED and went all the way up to like Charlie plexing. So really go all the way up there.
It was very good, I can tell you.
Thank you, and thank you for being the technical reviewer for it. I've had some experiences where people have like fallen through on that, so I appreciate you sticking with it. But for projects, I mentioned this the last time I was on MakerCast, working on like an IR controlled robot. And so I finally finished the housing for the remote, and I based it kind of on a Wii nunchuck style, because basically what's happening is the analog joystick when I move it in certain directions, it sends out a different IR pattern to communicate with the rover robot, which has a Circuit Playground Express on top, which has a built-in IR receiver. So I made the remote have a cat face on the front, and this PCB can kind of act as a nice even ground for everyone because there are through-hole parts and surface mount parts on it. So, but the way the housing is for the cat, it's kind of like the cat is screaming the IR signal, which was the goal there. And so I also printed it like this so that it could have the racing stripes with a color change. And the top is held on with some screws. And then I released a video this morning on this thing. It's just kind of like a toy experiment, but basically it's an RGB LED and a potentiometer. And when you turn the potentiometer, it kind of, I don't know how well it'll show up, but basically it goes through all the different colors that it can do. So it swirls through like red all the way up through like pink. And that's coded for Arduino, and it's running on a Trinket M0 board, which has a dot star on board. So whatever the RGB LED is doing, the dot star is also doing. So that allows it to kind of glow inside the box. So there, and there's a
That's
loose
really cool.
connection. Thank you. And then another thing I started working on is I'm going to be doing a sewing kit review. The person who makes the kits is actually connected to Electro Smash, which is guitar pedals I've done some stuff with. And I'm going to do like a wearables project with her sewing kit. I've never done a wearables project before, so it's kind of interesting. So I got like a test zipper today and stitched some like test fabric with it and attached a Circuit Playground Express with some conductive thread to kind of test my theory, because basically what I want to do is like have the zipper when it opens like turn on some LEDs, and I kind of got it working. It was a little finicky, so I'll turn it off. Yeah, it's still being very finicky, but I think I can get it working, so maybe. No, never mind. But it should work eventually, but I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with the Circuit Playground Express. I might do something different, but yeah, it's kind of been what I've been working on.
Cool. So we all know Becky Stern, who's sort of a friend of all of ours. So she does loads of used to do loads of wearable stuff. So you should definitely get on a project with her, I think.
Yes, I actually followed her zipper conductive thread tutorial to get that working. So
okay, I think that leads us on to the next experimental section of the stream. Oh God. Okay. Should we go into? Oh, maybe we should do questions from the chat. No, we'll do this first. Okay,
Need a
so
pen and paper, Div.
I've got questions here. Thank you. I'm good. I've got them on this terrible
No, but
board.
do I need a pen and paper?
Oh no, you don't. You don't. What? So, oh crumbs, that's going to fall off. Okay, so hang on a minute. That can go there. Good. So live chat. If you feel like you want to cheat, that's fine, and you can give the answers out. But we're going to do a quiz. So the quiz is some questions that I've ferreted out of the internet, which means that I've stolen them and I didn't come up with any of them myself. Apart from the last one. The last one is all me. So it might be the one that's incorrect. So we're going to do a quiz, and all of these guys here, am I pointing in the right direction? Hang on a minute. Let me just check on the old stream. Might be. They're going to be doing like a buzz in thing. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that you can say something quite loudly and jump on camera. So the first person to do that will be the person that answers the question. If they get it wrong, they get 1 minus point. If they get it right, they get 1 plus point. So everyone is answering the same question. Are we all ready? So the chat understands. Do you understand?
I'm not sure.
This is going to work terribly, but yes, let's do this.
I'm into it.
Okay, I'm just going to have a little bit more of this.
Send me some.
My buzzer is going to be cuckoo, cuckoo. Okay.
Okay. So Seon's got his buzzer. Does anyone else want to? Does anyone else want to create one? There you go. You've got one as well, but you can just start answering the question. That's fine. So we've only got 9 questions. I did try and get to 10. But, you know, I never really finish anything. So we've got 9. So question 1, everyone. And chat, you can take part if you want to. If it means these guys see the answer and don't know the answer, then it's fine. Right. So they might be quite difficult. I'm sorry if they are. I didn't know the answer to most of these, so good luck. When was the first transistor demonstrated? I want a year. It's that you answering.
Seon's feeling it right now.
1932.
Incorrect. -point for Liz.
Fair.
Go again, Liz. Pick another number.
Go big or go home.
I tell you what, if you get it within 2 years, you get a point.
1947.
Bitluni. That is correct.
No, that's from the chat. So Electron
that's
Ash
fine.
got this.
That's how it works. That is how it works.
You trusted Electron Ash that he was right.
Electron Ash.
That is the correct answer. It was December 23rd, 1947 at Bell Labs. And the first working silicon transistor was actually in 1954. Just a little side there. So the first working transistor was a germanium transistor. So it relied on, whatever. I don't know. So, next question. When was the first visible LED developed? So visible light spectrum LED. I'm looking for a year. I'll give you 2 years either side. I'm gonna have to break out the countdown sound, aren't I? Why are you all too scared to guess? Come on.
Because he gave -points.
Yeah, well, you will only be at the same level as Liz. It's fine. She's on -1.
I'm in the joint lead at the moment. Am I?
No, I'm positive.
I would like to guess 1932.
30s, Liz. Come on. There's another -point for you. That's it. You are on -2.
All over again.
I would say 57.
57 is incorrect, Bitluni. You are on 0 points now.
1961.
1961 is close enough. I will take it. So, Seon, you are on 1 point.
What was it?
The correct answer is 1962. The first visible spectrum red LED was developed in 1962 by Nick Holonyak while working at General Electric. Previous LEDs were all like infrared or UV and stuff, so they weren't counted as visible light spectrum LEDs.
So I have a question on that. Have been LEDs already on the Apollo missions?
Were they on the Apollo missions?
Yeah. So moon landing and so on. Or all these lights were incandescent bulbs inside of the...
They definitely used electroluminescent stuff, and they used incandescent bulbs, but they may have used like UV bulbs to trigger some kind of phosphorescence in something, maybe. But according to Wikipedia, that is the correct answer. So, next question. Whose law is the observation that the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit doubles approximately every 2 years?
I said it first. Moore's law.
I actually think Seon said it first.
What?
I'm sorry. That's what I heard. Chat, can you be our adjudicator, please? Because I'm not sure. I will let chat decide. I'll just wait for them to catch up. They're a little bit slow.
They're all answering the question.
Sorry, chat. Don't turn on me.
Maybe it was Seon. I just know it was before bitluni. That's all I know. Just trying to...
Okay, give it to Brian. That's fine.
Steve. Steve is going to be the deciding vote. He has decided it was Brian. Okay, Brian gets 1 point.
Stephen is getting PCB in the post.
Just so you know what the scores are currently, Liz is sitting on a -2. This is in order. Bitluni is on 0. Seon is in 1. And Brian is also on 1. That's exciting, isn't it? Okay, so this one's really difficult. You'll never know it. I mean, but I just looked it up.
Awesome.
But you can guess. So that's
challenge accepted.
That's okay. Actually, you won't be able to guess because I'm looking for not a year, but the thing. So what is, and it's basically the first to read the chat, I imagine. What is recognized as the first microcontroller?
Oh.
I think
There's
that's
this Peggy tech
cheating.
type happening.
Oh, he's probably looking after a baby. They require a bit of typing, don't they?
Mm.
Brian, explain yourself.
Nothing, just typing some stuff.
Right, just write some emails, you know.
A few emails. I typed it in and I still don't know.
Yeah, I
It
think
did
it's
take
one
a
of
bit of searching.
one of the
Who
million.
invented or what was it? Because okay, I have what it was now. Do you want me
Anyone
to
else?
answer?
Do-do.
65. What is it? 65?
No.
I
Okay,
really shouldn't
One of
risk it.
those.
I'm just
Right.
gonna guess. It was a TMS 1802NC by Tetris Instruments.
Brian, you massive
Very
cheat.
boom.
All right. I
I-
didn't specify you couldn't cheat, to be honest. So you do get a point. That is 2 points to Brian. It was the TMS 1000, and it was introduced by Tetris Instruments in 1974. 4-bit central processor unit with read-only memory and read and write RAM. So technically considered, and inputs and outputs. So technically considered to be one of the first microcontrollers. There you go. So next up should be an easy one for everybody here, even me. I made this question up, so here we go.
Great.
Sorry, I was just suddenly aware of how ridiculous I am. I apologize. Who came up with Ohm's law and when? Actually, I didn't know the when, but I did know who it was. Ohm's law. You know, the V
It was
equals
Ohm.
IR.
What's Ohm's law?
Ohm's law is
I'm joking.
it's okay. Good. Anybody?
I feel like making a bad joke, but I don't want to like risk losing points.
Oh, I do. Missed the point. No, it wasn't.
I'm looking for a name here. I'll give you a clue. His last name was Ohm. His last name was Ohm.
Nicola Ohm.
Bitluni, that takes you down to
Oh,
-1. Oh dear.
I'm not answering anything.
The chat surely must have caught up now. Come on now. Oh dear, I see an answer in chat already.
What?
I want Alex on my team. I think.
Sorry, Seon, did you just say Michael Faraday?
No, I'm saying that that like your Nash said.
Oh, you're reading things out. Sorry, because I thought you were answering the question there. Could have been a minus point.
He would have taken the points if he was right.
Take one point.
Or it'd be very risky for someone at the top of the leaderboard to start shouting out names now, wouldn't it, Seon? Come on, careful.
I'm not on the top. You already stole my point. Gave it to Brian.
Oh wait, no, that's true. Brian hasn't dropped himself down again. Okay, well, no one's going to get a point here. The answer is George Ohm. And that was in between 1852 and 1825 and 1826. Giving you a big range there, backwards in time. The next one should be an easy one for everyone. What does MOSFET stand for? MOSFET.
Side
Field effect transistor and what's the
metal oxide field effect transistor.
Okay.
Boom. Seon gets it.
Edge coming out and Seon.
So, does anyone want a little update to the scores? We only have 3 questions left because I couldn't come up with a 10th. So, Liz, you are sitting at -2. Pull your socks up. Bitluni, you're at -1. Seon and Brian are both sharing the top spot with 2 points. The next question should be an easy one. It's basically going to be who can shout first. So, get ready. What is the SI unit of electrical capacitance?
Ferret.
Ah, there we go. Redeemed himself. You're now on 0. Well done. Which of the following is the best conductor of electricity? Aluminium, gold, copper. Aluminium, gold, copper, or silver? Sorry, I misread.
Copper.
It's gold. By volume or by weight?
Silver.
Okay. Bitluni, you're on -1. Liz,
Oh,
you are
no!
on -3. And Seon, you have taken the lead with 3 points. Silver is the best conductor. However, it's not used in like loads of circuits because it tarnishes really easily. Whereas gold,
yeah, that's the
which is
problem.
a lesser conductor, it's not even as good as copper actually, but it doesn't tarnish, and so is used on loads of contacts. So there you go. The next question, I don't think we're going to be able to do this every week because honestly, I spent about 2 hours coming up with all these. This is the last question, actually. So who we got? Oh, gosh. Look at this. Liz.
Only Liz can answer.
Liz, you're at -3, which is 6 points behind the leader. Bitluni, you're on -1. Brian, you are on 2 points. And Seon, somehow, it's unbelievable, really, mainly because he kept his mouth shut, I imagine, is on 3 points.
I would like to donate 3 of my points to Liz.
No!
That
Wait,
was,
I don't need pity points. I
mean-
do not need pity points.
No.
Actually, you really do.
I am going to disallow this because I think Brian knows this as well, as he was so keen to let this happen. It would mean that nobody would be able to catch up with Brian at all.
Yeah,
So-
that's okay. I'll let Brian win.
There could be a tie here.
Yeah.
If Brian gets this last question, then you could tie. I'm not going to be transferring any points around. This is the very last question. Which logic gate will only give a positive output if both inputs
And.
are low?
No!
and-
That was
Oh.
a trick question.
I'm going to tell you what the
Yeah,
options are. I'm giving you some options. So
Nor.
I'm going to give you. I've not finished the question yet. None of your
It's
answers
not.
count.
Oh
None
my
of your options count. Is it NAND, not and, exclusive or XOR, not or
Not or.
and?
Nan.
Not or is the correct answer. Well done.
Oh, sorry.
That brings you back to 0. Well done. So that is it. That's the quiz.
Wait, what
Make it
was
fast
the
quiz.
question? The question was when
Which
both-
logic gates will only give a positive output if both inputs are low? Not and or NAND, which can be mistaken for negative and, which is why I didn't say that. Exclusive or not or and. And the answer is nor or not or. What?
There's 2 highs that also
Shut-
give you
Look at that! Look at
a high
that
output.
face.
Well,
That's obvious.
He'll figure it out. Okay, so that is the end of the quiz. We have a winner. The winner is the person that looks very confused right now. Is Seon with 3 points.
Yeah, I'm
Brian,
sorry.
You win for
Brian
chicken
came
dinner.
second with 2. Bitluni came third with 0, and Liz disappointingly came fourth with -3.
I just want to put an official protest in that I wasn't able to transfer my points.
Well,
You said there
Okay.
were no rules.
Yeah.
there were also no rules at the start, so I'm deciding right now.
The game was quite unfair because Seon got just some sleep, and for us it's evening. So yeah, that's an advantage for him.
What about my latency?
Getting up at 4 o'clock.
I'm in Australia. You're all in Europe. Oh no, actually not Liz. Like my pin times.
Right. So we are now on to the section where I guess people ask questions. Has anyone got any questions? Steve, you've been in the chat, so please do let us know if there are questions. But we will start with Seon. What's coming up for you in the next month?
Nothing's really changing for me. I'm building TinyPicos and packing and shipping stuff. I'll have everything shipped though by then. So I'm excited to be working on my Reflow Master Pro, which I still got in development. And I'm not sure if anyone, hang on, one sec. Where is it?
that's kind of scary.
It really is scary.
What is scary? What?
There's a monster lurking in the background of your office, maybe. It's just like this black hole that you disappeared into.
Pitch black outside. Like
It's the only way
Out
to
of
get to Australia.
electricity?
No, that's basically my
Really?
nightmare. I came home
bag.
after a run and I left my key in the front door and I forgot about it all evening. And then I had a dream that night that was some awful person lurking in the shadows. very similar.
So
to
I'm excited to release this. I showed this on my stream. Not sure if you're able to see. It's my new version of my 7-segment display.
Kind of looks upside down.
Sorry?
Is that upside down? Yeah.
That's reverse, I think. My picture might be. Anyway, so I'm really excited. So these are like, I've got everything sitting in a box ready to go. I need to start assembling them. I might even see if I can get them working in my pick and place. Anyway, but this is, yeah, I'm actually retiring a whole bunch of stuff on Tindy, all my laser segments and stuff. And I've got this, I'm going to be releasing these, and I'm building a new version of my clock with these. And I'm really excited to release these. They're very, very cool. So that's what's coming up for me. I want to get back on making stuff, as in, yeah, making things that don't require me to have to make 1,000 and ship them. So that'll be good.
There is actually a question in the chat here, and perhaps you can answer it, but I think I might be able to give a stab at it. But Electron Ash has asked, how do you drive the first WS2812, so the NeoPixel, from a 3.3 volt I/O pin?
Well, the easiest way to do it, if you've got 5 volts coming in still, is to just level shift it up to 5 volts. But you can run them off 3.3 volts.
It's above the threshold.
Sorry?
It's 3.3 is above the threshold, so it shouldn't be a problem.
It's very close. The threshold cuts off at 3.2, so it's you can, depending on the quality of your RGB LEDs, you can get some flickering with them. You definitely don't want to stick a resistor in line beforehand because you're going to drop your voltage. But look, I've successfully run off 3.3 volts a lot. But if you're driving a lot of them, you want to run them off 5 volts if you can.
You can definitely do it with a transistor as well. So if you are worried about that voltage drop across with a resistor, you could just do transistor anyway. So
one of the guy with the Swiss accents video, Andreas Spies, he showed that you could put a 220 picofarad capacitor between the data line and ground, and it magically worked. And I was like, why does that work, in a comment? And he was like, oh, it filters out. I was like, that doesn't sound right, but it works. I've literally no idea why it works. But if you have issues with NeoPixels running them at 3.3 volts, if you put the 220 picofarad cap in, it works. And it's stupid weird.
So it prevents the voltage sag, I assume, because it's keeping that line up, I guess. I don't really know. Okay, I don't think there are any other questions, it looks like. So if I'm going to run along the line, and if you could all just, it's like a little outro, just like Seon did, just talk about what you're up to in the next month or so. So actually, we're gonna go against convention and go with Liz first.
Well, after that quiz, I'm going to study up on some electronics terminology. And I'm going to be working on the wearables sewing project. And I also have always wanted to do a macro keyboard for emojis. So I started working on the code for that recently. It was going pretty well. And I have a big project that I've always wanted to do, even before I really got into doing electronics projects regularly. That involves doing a MIDI controlled motor harness for a xylophone. So I'm hoping this summer to tackle that. So
Liz, we've had a question about that horrendous beast behind you.
Not my Winnie Boo. She's not horrendous. That's Winnie, one of my 2 cats, and she
seems to be eating herself.
You don't like cats, David?
Have you never seen a cat before? In fact, I know you have, because you paid to go to see them in Japan.
Okay, so I'm not the best of friends with cats. I don't mind cats, but they do keep in my garden. They're just cat turds everywhere. It's really annoying. Today I had to go out with a blooming bag and pick them all up. But I do like cats. My mate, what am I talking about? Sorry. Liz.
Yes.
I'm sort of forgetting that we're doing a live stream, and I feel like I'm just chatting to all of you. Brian, Liz, are you done?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Brian. I mean, mostly nappies, right?
Mostly. Well, I've one less set of nappies to worry about since the last one. Just need to run to the toilet every 10 seconds.
Do we get a
yes.
video about the potty trainer?
I will probably make one because it's going to be so quick to make, and also I'll get to like pimp my Tindy stuff. So, you know, like if you need to train your kids, buy this thing or don't. It's a stupid thing to buy, but whatever.
That will go viral.
So viral. I cannot predict how videos are going to do beforehand. That's actually something interesting we could talk about at some stage. Like videos that I think are going to do well don't, and then videos that I think are, you know, just these crappy things I just threw out there sometimes do really well, and I'm like, what? I beep. That's David's playing me off there with the buzzer. He's beeping me off already. So for me, for the next month or so, it's hard to know because it's hard to know how much time I'll get to work on stuff. I have at least 3 new designs of PCBs currently en route from China. If you get the cheapest shipping off JLC, once they leave China, their tracking doesn't work. So I have literally no idea where they are or when they'll be here, but they're coming. They'll be fun. That's one thing. I have a few other things that I need to list up on Tindy. One of them is this D1 screen breakout. It is literally a stupid PCB that has room for a Nokia 5110 screen, has a D1 mini at the back, and it also has pins for an OLED screen. So it is going to be for just... I suppose I better plug it into the right one. It's going to be just for like a ton of my projects were literally just putting stuff on screens, and I was like, well, why don't I make something to do it for me rather than going into a breadboard every single time and hooking up the same wires just over and over again. So yeah, I made a thing to do that for me. Stupid board, but maybe it might be interesting to some people. What else? I have a ton of mods for my Ender tree here. I've been collecting stuff for modding that, and it's printing really well at the moment. I'm afraid to touch it. The only complaint I have is it's loud. It's too loud. Like it's in my office, and I couldn't record a video or work or anything while it's here. So well, I could work, but not like I have a lot of video conferences and stuff, and that mightn't go down too well. Brian, why does it sound like you're in a industrial warehouse? I don't know. So that's it from me. Yeah, that'll be it from me, I think.
Okay, thanks, Brian. So last up, we have you, Looney. Are you happy to talk about what you're going to do in the next month or so?
Yeah, I will just release maybe the video about this card that I made, and I will try to improve it a little bit more. Then next is I got also some replacement parts for my scooter. So a new hub wheel, got it from China, and new controller, and I will try to implement recuperation. So when I go downhill, it will recharge the batteries. That's something I might put out also in the next weeks, and I'm working also on that pick and place machine. Not sure if I get it within the next 3 weeks until the next MakerCast, but I will try. And the first maybe test that I will do on that is this board here. So it won't focus, but yeah, I tried castellations from JLC PCB, and I even got that penalizing with the castellations in between the rows from Easy EDA with some tricks, and maybe show how to do that. It's simple video maybe on that. And yeah, I also what I did this week is I cleaned up the second room from of my lab, so I don't have to. There is no carpet, so I can do the dirty stuff over there, and maybe I will show that as well. Yeah, yeah. At least when I got pick and place machine. I will put it there, as well as like the reflow oven and so on. So I can do the dirty work and loud work over there. And yeah, I think that's enough for the next 3 weeks.
I think it is, yeah. So what am I going to be working on over the next 2? Well, since Julian has just popped into the chat actually, and I think Colin was there as well, I've been thinking about getting a 12-volt solar panel system in my garden to charge a 12-volt battery. The 12-volt battery will be more than enough for little projects that I want to do, and it just seems kind of fun. So I'm on the lookout for a solar panel, cheap, because I've got no real spare cash to hand because I want to go on holiday again. So I'm saving all of that money. So I'm working on that at the moment, trying to figure out what I'm going to need, where I can put it. I went out in the garden today to pick up a load of their cats left behind, and also clear out any weeds and stuff, and just have a look around and see where I can put a solar panel. Turns out my house is in the wrong kind of orientation, so it's not going to get a lot of sun all day, but that's okay. Any sun is fine. I can deal with that. I've got my little list of things here. Oh, okay. So 2 things right behind me. You can see they are actually pinky purple LEDs. They don't really look it on camera, but that's connected to my the battery charger that I was using. I can't really remember what it is. It was whatever. It charges nickel metal hydride lithium polymer batteries, but it also discharges them. And I've got this big box of batteries, loads of different types in there, some rechargeable, some not. And I'm just really interested to see what kind of capacity they have, not just for myself, but maybe other people benefit from it. But it's also fun to just figure out how to do it. So I've started my little big battery test, and that string is actually attached to the back of the battery monitor, so I remember the damn thing's on, because discharging batteries takes a long freaking time. I'm discharging them at 200 or 300 milliamps. So one of them is that I've just tested is these Energizer ones. I've just tested some of these Energizer Industrial, and they are about 2,100 milliamp hours, which at 200 or 300 milliamps as a draw, then it takes ages. So it's good to have that there, so I remember it's on. Other than that, I am oh, okay. Well, we've got the badge and the crap critter thing, but I'm also working on, oh God, I've forgotten, the rotary phone thing. Do you remember that? That was a long time ago. That should have been finished.
Finish it. It's such a cool project.
I know. Look, I'm just gonna hang on a minute.
Finish it now, live. Do it.
It's right here in this drawer. So it's all just parts. It just needs putting together. But you know that, I mean, I don't know if I'm alone on this, but for me, that is the most boring part of a project, is finishing it. I've already learned everything. Like, I don't need to know how to make a Google Home Assistant. I don't need to know how to learn. Don't need to learn how to ring the bell or figure out the power requirements or figure out what the ring cadence is for UK telephones. I've already done that. It's just making it look nice, and that's the hard bit for me. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be up to over the next month or so. But also trying to learn MicroPython, which is something I suppose we all. So this is kind of some YouTube admin stuff, so maybe not of interest to everybody, but it's one of those things where you can't make a video. I can't tell you all about it. I can't make a video about the learning of something because I can't do a video better than Seon did about how to do MicroPython. I've got to learn it for myself, right? So it's a lot of sitting in a room at a computer, typing away, getting it wrong, getting it right, getting it wrong a couple more times, and then seeing how something works. So a lot of the stuff I've done over the past couple of months, in fact, even 3 months, has been me just learning some stuff, because I'm going from like a lot of logic based stuff, so CMOS based stuff, and doing a lot more in microcontrollers, and I'm so comfortable with the logic CMOS stuff. It's just an easy place to be, right? Because nothing can really go wrong unless you screw up your signals or whatever. So it's just kind of easy to do that. And getting back into doing a lot more programming is kind of hard, although I did write that Arduino library it was a terrible timer library, and there's a better one available called Timer, so use that. But I did write one. It is a good learning experience, so I recommend anyone have a go at that if they can. Yeah, that's me. I've got nothing else. So what do we do now?
Maybe I
Everybody
have something
awkwardly.
about events that are coming up. So I already said that Brian, me, Dave Darko, Maya Makes, Alex from as Tiny LED Matrix will be in Hanover, Maker Faire Hanover in August already. So if you want to meet us there or see us or whatever, you should maybe book now. Also, I applied to give a talk on the Hackaday SuperCon, and I also booked a flight already and at the hotel there. So I will be at least in LA at this time, but who knows whenever they will approve it or not, and if I will get in there. But I will be there, and I will also love to meet some people there. So Hackaday, who of you will be there?
So what? Hang on. What's the one thing you're going with, Brian? What's this? What's the? Where is it? What day is it? What month?
In Hanover, Maker Faire is on the 17th and 18th of August, and I will be going to it. I was originally meant to go to the Berlin one, but my daughter was born basically like 2 weeks beforehand, and it might have been a stretch too far. I cannot wait to go and not have anything to do for like 4 days. It is going to be magical. Unless I end up having to babysit bitluni, which is a pretty big possibility. I could see that happening.
I'd say that's almost certain.
Yeah, that's pretty much guaranteed, but I'd be well practiced. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just really wanted to go to Maker Faire. The closest one to me is probably Glasgow, but the guys that bitluni listed out there already kind of regularly enough go to the German ones, and Germany's not too far away from me. So I said I'll go to it. So I will be in Hanover for that weekend. If you're around, I'd love to say hi to people. I'm a relatively shy person, but maybe we'll see. We'll see what I'm like at the time. It should be fine. Maybe we'll see.
You should
Cool.
get some stickers made before then to hand out, because stickers are currency at Maker Faire.
I was thinking I'd nearly just make like PCBs and get them panelized or something. They're almost as cheap as stickers. Somebody asked how's my whiteboard list. It's actually going okay. Can you still hear me now? So on the projects list was Easy Time, which I started making a video of and then stopped because I ran out of time, which is kind of funny. Matrix PCB, oopsie, that's done. Macro keypad, not done. The sneakily named TP, which was TinyPico video, that was done. There is a £1 UPS question mark. That is a video on can you make a UPS out of one of these things, which is a Poundland battery pack. API library part 1, that is done, but is that's a disaster. Arduino JSON has a new version. ESP8266 has a new version. It's just throw it in the bin time for that one. ESP32 camera is done, and then there's another one down the bottom that I'll get into at some stage. But yeah, whiteboard is going okay. Slowly, but okay.
Nice. I'm sure there was someone recently did a macro keypad. He even sent it to me. It's Robin someone.
Yeah, that looked really nice. My one will not look...
Robin Hartley is his name.
Yeah, mine
he
will
recently
not look
made
that
a
nice.
sonic screwdriver remote, which is really cool. So you should hit him up. He's got like really cool software. He might be able to give you a few pointers.
This is my one. what I was looking to do was make like the cheapest one possible. So these things are 40 cent from AliExpress, and then these what are these Pro Micros? Pro Micros, they're like $3 or $4 from AliExpress, and that's literally all you need, and it actually works okay.
It's just a membrane, isn't it? A membrane keypad. So you press
it's
a little
matrix,
dome.
it works fine. What this project originally was to make a Wi-Fi based one, so it's hooked up to a Node MCU as well. But I've actually since bought something on Tindy that combines the two of them into a USB stick. Its intention is to be like a remote script runner and stuff, bad USB or whatever, but I want to use it for good. I would like to plug it into my Fire TV underneath my TV and be able to control it from like my phone or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. Again, that's one of those things. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be a nice project that I will never get to. Maybe.
Well, you just literally mentioned pretty much most of the things I'm interested in. Never going to get to them.
Never going to get to them.
Okay, well, we are at 20 past 10. I think this is usually an hour. Is it? Is that right?
Hello,
anyway, who would like to talk about what they're coming up with next? Liz, have you already done it?
I did that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's just that's it, isn't it? Is that everybody? Seon, did I ask you?
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, I drank more of this than I thought I would.
What was it?
Maybe slightly tipsy. This was whiskey and water. So when we began, it was up here, but really, it was probably only like a couple of shots worth, ish. Yeah, I think that's probably
Seon has something. Seon has something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got an interesting project that is going to be too late for me because I kind of need it right now, and I'm probably going to be dead before I get to do it. Oh. And I know that sounds crazy, but so an interesting thing, I was going to bring this up on my AMA about the crowd supply campaign, but an interesting thing that I never considered with all of this was I'm sitting in a workshop, right, where I'm building boards and I'm reflowing 20 times a day. And what am I doing when I'm reflowing 20 times a day? I'm filling my office with flux fumes all day, and I'm sitting in here working in it all day, and I've got no exhaust, right? So I've devised a project to build an enclosure for my reflow ovens with air extraction that's going to run off my reflow master. So when my fan kicks in to cool the oven down, it's going to turn on an extraction system and suck all the heat and the fumes off my oven out through the roof of the wall somewhere.
You will put a huge hole in your wall?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I know.
No screw holes, though.
You don't even like putting pictures up. What are you doing?
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't want to hang a picture on the wall, but I also don't want to die. And I've been getting some pretty bad headaches and stuff, like working during the day. Like it never occurred to me.
Oh man!
Like I'm literally living in a room full of flux fumes. So yeah,
you could probably build an interface for your window. So you will just put it in front. No,
and yeah. Anyway, I mean, I've got an idea for it, but it's probably not going to happen in time. Like I don't have time now to stop building boards to solve this. But so it's winter, so I'm sitting here in the freezing cold with my door open, with the reflow oven near the door, freezing and shivering, just trying to get some airflow. Yeah, it's an interesting problem that never occurred to me. So anyway, so that's a project I've got coming up if I'm still alive. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed you'll be fine. Everyone else?
Can I have your stuff if you don't? Or if you're not?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure.
Why don't you put your oven outside?
It's because it's cold.
I need to watch it. I can't have. Why? Because it won't reflow if it's sitting outside.
It's cold.
You stick a reflow. You stick an oven outside.
Temperature control.
Sorry.
It's temperature controlled. It probably will just figure it out to go 20 degrees higher.
20.
Yeah, I
no,
know.
right. I can also stick it in the fridge. Anyway,
Right. Right. Well, I think I'm just gonna call a close to today. I think so. I want to say thank you very much to everyone that joined the stream today. Everyone in the chat and everyone who's watching and not in the chat, and also all of you guys who came along to chat in the MakerCast. Just a quick reminder of the scores. So Liz scored.
You don't need to do that.
don't do that.
Liz scored an amazing score. Bitluni got 0. Seon got 3 and Brian got 2, which meant that Seon is the king of the MakerCast for this month. So thank you very much, everybody. It's hang on, are we going to do? All right, okay.
All hail the king of the MakerCast.
It's goodbye from me. We're not doing that. Okay.
Who will do the next one?
Oh yeah, who wants to do the next one? Chat. Who do you want to do the next one? Let them decide.
Did we not kind of
mob rule?
Julian's going to do the next one.
Julian's going to do the next one. I don't think.
I think Liz volunteered.
I've seen Julian's webcam quality, and also I'm not even sure his PC's up for it. Julian refused a PC. I offered him a PC. He did not want it.
Okay. Liz, you next?
Liz, yeah, we can read in the chat.
Liz, are you happy to do it?
Sure, yes.
Nothing like a bit of live peer pressure to make sure. Are you happy to do it, Liz? But, there's 74 people watching and, you can't really say no.
Maybe it's whoever loses the quiz that hosts the next time.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
That sounds brilliant. Okay. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I don't know. We'll see. It was a different hosting experience for everyone, I'm sure.
It was great. Thanks for having us.
We'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Don't forget to like. Everyone, go like the video.
Or dislike. You're allowed to do that too. It's all interaction. It's allowed. Also, unsubscribe from me. It's fine. No, don't.
Please don't.
Take the pressure off. No, don't. Okay, bye.
Press the dislike button twice if you didn't like it.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.